Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started, and if anybody else comes on, I'll try and remember to let them in. And I'm gonna take what Kelly wrote. She graciously sent her little spiel, so I'll read this real quick. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Erin Hauser. I'm the Nebraska Museums Association president. I'd like to welcome you all to our monthly museum meeting, a monthly Zoom chat to discuss relevant museum topics. They're usually held on the fourth Friday of the month at 10:30 Central Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. If you can't make one month or want to rewatch one later, we are recording them and posting them on our YouTube channel. There's a link to them on our website at nebraskamuseums.org. This month's theme is summer activities. If your organization is doing anything or not doing anything, we'll talk about it. It's going to be led by Tammy Hendrickson, the curator at the Custer County Museum in Broken Bow. If you're interested in leading a future discussion or have ideas for a discussion, please contact one of the board members. Looks like everyone has video capability right now. But if you do have a question, please tell us your name and organization before you ask your question. You can also use the chat feature and we will ask the question for you. We'd also ask that you mute yourself unless you are speaking. And I will talk about the other one later. So I'm going to turn it over to Tammy. So welcome, Tammy from Broken Bow.
Well, thank you for that nice introduction. And this is my first time of doing this, so I'll jump right in. Right? I've been here at the museum for about a curator for 5 years, but ahead of that, I was volunteer as my kids are little, and the youngest ones turned 30 this year. So a little bit of time in this area. Today, we're going to talk about what's going on in the different areas, and whether I'll say, looks like I can say that Margot is down in Cass County. In that area. Brock, you're at Rails and Trails, right?
Trails and Rails.
Rails are the opposite. Okay, down in Kearney. And Audrey's at Mona. And Anna is down over in David City.
Bone Creek Museum of Fine Art.
Wolf Creek, okay. Bone Creek. Okay. And do you have some things? Are you back open, all of you? And have you been open? Yes, 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 all of us. Have you had a time frame when you were closed in 2020 completely? I had like 6 weeks, so not too bad, but had activity. And are you now? You're back open and doing, are you seeing an influx of visitors? I think the May 1st was our opening for the summertime, knowing that we usually do Memorial. And with that, we did jump up and say May 1st, we're seeing activity in April as they started coming in. I'm vaccinated, I can come in. But the visitors now are just coming every day. Doing, and it's like, but I think there's an influx of those. But what kind of things are you have going on? Anybody want to start, or Erin, you want to give what you're doing on your area?
We opened March 1st, or the beginning of March, as our open date. We're slowly getting back into things. We don't have a lot planned for this summer. We will be doing and we did this last year. We had a barbecue. Our barbecue is our annual fundraiser. And we did it last year and it worked out really well. So we're doing it again this year. It's going to be a drive-through only. So, and they have to pre-order their meals and their tickets. So we fortunately have a loop in our back parking lot, and they'll just drive through. So we're actually in the process of calling our members and asking if they want barbecue tickets. So that's sort of our first sort of event, if you will. We also did start, we had what we called First Thursday Coffee, which was just basically a social hour. And we did that. We opened back up last month in April, and we had 13 people, but So it's still kind of slow, but we've gotten hosts now for everyone for the rest of the year, and so that's something that we'll do. And then last year, Wahoo was supposed to celebrate their 150th, and obviously that didn't happen. So this year we're going to be celebrating the 150th plus one, and we'll be participating in that. And then the only other thing that we're really going to have is a car show, and that's in August. But otherwise, we're not planning any real big things going on this summer. It's we're not sure how many people are going to be coming, and also it's getting the volunteers to help us. So we have a lot of you, our volunteers are a little older, and so they just don't want to. They'd like to help, but they just can't. So that's our summer stuff. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of slowly moving back into it.
And I think the volunteers, yeah, is a definite, the seniors are our volunteers in that. And getting the confidence back to come back in and do that, and saying, is this really going to be okay with our vaccine things, and go back in. So that is but the activities seem to be picking up and doing really good. How about Margot?
Well, we've been open the whole time. We never did close, but didn't have a whole lot of visitors, but we've been having more visitors this spring. We had our first school tour in 2 years on Tuesday, so had a hard time remembering how to give a tour, but it was great. Had a lot of volunteer help with it. And we have an event planned this summer. It's going to be July 24th and 25th, called A Walk Through Time. And there's, I don't know if you can see the brochure, but there's a brochure of it. And it's, we're going to have reenactors there. You'll be able to walk through Lewis and Clark expedition, Fort Atkinson, the Mountain Man era, Oregon Trail, and the Civil War. And then in addition to that, we have some programs planned through Humanities Nebraska, some sit-down programs. We'll have Gerald Draper there. On Saturday is George Drouillard, and then on Sunday is Peter Sarpy. And Bill Hayes on Saturday is George Shannon of the Lewis and Clark expedition. And the descendants of DeWitty, a town that was founded by African Americans, will be on Saturday. It's all going to be free and open to the public, and it'll be held outside, not here at the museum, but at the Rock Hill Windmill Center that's about 9 miles west of town. So we're praying for good weather because it's supposed to all be outside. So that's going to be our big event. We also have an open house at our one-room school every summer, and that's the Sunday before that on July 18th. So that's what's keeping us busy right now. I can't hear you.
What are your hours? Are they certain days of the week, or do you have a day off in the week?
At the museum here, we're open Tuesday through Saturday from 12 until 4. The event in July is from 9 until 4, both of those days.
That's the extended. Okay. Anna, how about your activities in your area?
Well, the Butler County Arts Council was in existence before Bone Creek Art Museum became into existence. So the two organizations dovetail their activities with each other. On the Bone Creek side, and I won't take this valuable time telling it because we have a really good website and a good Facebook page if you go to bonecreek.org. But the art, every summer for the last 10 years, we have a 3-day art day camp, and we coordinate at least one of the themes with what's going on at Bone Creek. And Gabrielle Comp, better known to most of us as Gabby, does an amazing job for us. She's our full-time employee, and she leads at least one of the sessions. She also creates activities for when we have visiting groups. Just on Monday, there were 30 fifth grade students that came, and she had a scavenger hunt for them to look for things in the art in the South Gallery, and my husband Alan Koval took the North Gallery and so that they could be small enough groups. Because anyone knows fifth graders, they all want to share, and so it can be coordinated. So the Art Day Camp is always the last 3 weekdays in July. It will be 6 3-hour sessions, and we are very fortunate that Aquinas Catholic Schools lets us use their double-sized art room, but we're planning for all the activities to be pretty much outdoors because we didn't know at what state we would be in this whole epidemic thing. In terms of the museum itself, we were on the passport program last year. So when they opened on June 1st, so did we, and we got numerous visitors, and we have always required since COVID that visitors have a mask on, and people have been really good about that, or else they have waited in the car while their husband or wife. But for the most part, we've been told we get more visitors because we are still insisting on the mask policy. I don't know what'll happen going forward after this Friday. So we have very good cooperation between the schools and the Butler County Arts Council and the Bone Creek Museum. And I guess the one event I know for sure is July 10th. Our curator, Amanda, will be flying in from California because we'll have a reception. We're not sure whether it'll have to be outdoors or whatever, but the least interesting place, there's a book that is out, and the photographer for it has been selling his book through Bone Creek as well as from his own place in Lincoln, and it has some really interesting, very agrarian photographs. So long as we're connecting people to the land with the art or activities, we're fulfilling our mission. Tammy's mouth is moving.
You're muted, Tammy.
Again, whoops, because they were doing dishes back here. It's like, oh, I don't want to have them dishes cling. Brock or Audrey, either one you want to go? What you're doing or what your change is? Brock raised his hand.
Sure. So we've been open since June of last year. We were closed for about a month and a half, I think, from mid-March to, so it's a little bit more than that. But and so we really have picked up here at the museum this spring. And I mean, I think a lot has to do with the fact that the visitors that have been watching the cranes, and then people are just, I can tell, being on I-80, just traveling, wanting to do things. So our museum has picked up exponentially. And regarding events, we have our monthly Fabulous Friday programs that are on Facebook Live, pre-recorded, that I personally have involvement with the Fabulous Friday Committee, a group of volunteers. But as for like big events for the summer, we have our Wagons West Celebration Reverse Parade. We started that last year, and it's supposed to, we have a bunch of people dressed up as pioneers. And so they're able to safely socially distance without masks on, and being the older demographic that we have that are volunteers, this is what we've elected to do again, rather than our traditional Wagons West. And so that requires a handful of volunteers, as well as that same weekend on July 12th, we have our half marathon, 10K and 5K. So those are the two main events that we've got going on. And the Stampede is a big fundraiser for our museum, and we're hosting a virtual and in-person race. And so right now we're sitting at, I think, about 130 participants. And so we'll see as the weather gets nicer and hopefully the clouds clear someday here in Kearney, people will start getting out more and realizing that they can sign up for races. So otherwise, here in Buffalo County, we're celebrating Gibbons' sesquicentennial, or their 150th birthday. And so we've been doing a lot with the Gibbon Heritage Center. And there was an event that they had done at their facility, and then we'll continue to do all throughout the summer. We're doing a cemetery tour in the Gibbon Cemetery, as well as some things during Art in the Park, and having a few presenters come. So we've got a full plate, that's for sure.
And how is your research area doing? Are you seeing influx in visitors coming in to your research areas?
So
Appointments or?
it's really, we still have the policy that it's going to be no in-person research at this time, but there's been times where we haven't turned away certain people. So it's definitely by situation by situation. And so a lot of our queries have come via email. We've even met people out in the parking lot to give them whatever it is that they needed. And so yes and no in some respects.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of, yes, but yeah, yes, but no, yeah.
and even
Yes.
then we still had queries all throughout the times that we had last year. It's because people were sitting at home and they were trying to find something to occupy their time.
Yes, that I found that same thing during that time. Is like I was actually, the doors were closed. I was in here doing things, but yet the queries or the different the pieces of the messages or paper mail or phone calls were still coming in and putting those out. Probably, I think Margot's up there shaking her head. Yep, yep, yep. So when you have the other library part to it, it is another whole thing. Anna?
I had added that we had virtual events at the Bone Creek. The Toasted Ponies and the Lightning Bugs and the Shuck Brothers loved the acoustics. So we videoed that, and then we put the link on our website as well as on the Arts Council website, and that's been very well received.
And we did. Sorry, I thought you were done. We had done some virtual field trips ourselves too, and they've been pretty successful. I've been very happy with those.
We did last year. One of the things that we did, we usually have a what I call lunch and listen. It's like a brown bag program, where people come and bring their lunch, and it's usually myself giving a talk of some sort. Well, obviously we couldn't do that last year, so we did Facebook Live ones, and we've gotten some really good responses, especially because we have quite a few of our members who don't live in the county, in fact live out of state, and through Facebook they're able to attend, put that in quotes, these little lunch and listen things. So next month in June for the 150+1, we are going to have one, and we're going to have it in person. We have a descendant of one of the first families of Wahoo that's going to be here sort of talking about his family. But I guess the segue for that, for a question that I have, is those that you have done some virtual events, are you going to keep doing some of these even though we're opening up?
That was a 2020 thing, but yeah, is it going to keep our attention to the different areas?
So I guess for us, like the virtual tours that we were offering, I think are going to be largely done, but we have been doing all of our Fabulous Fridays via Facebook Live. So I don't anticipate that those will go by the wayside anytime soon, but
So drop some off and yet keep some.
exactly.
Yeah. Audrey, how has your place been doing? It opened up now and doing things?
Well, as I said in my little chat message, I am retired. So therefore, unlike all of you, I get to get up when I want to. I get to shower when I want to. I'm not on a set schedule. So I don't know the daily activities at Mona. I think Mona finally did. It opened for a while in the fall, and then I think one of the staff members did get COVID, so then it was closed again for some weeks. Then it was just before Thanksgiving, because then it was just like, let's just be closed in through Thanksgiving, and then they've opened up again somewhat. I do know that Mona will be closed for 18 to 24 months, starting in November, because they will be doing a big expansion renovation, new building and renovating the current building. So that will be a major undertaking. So that's what I know about Mona. I will say, and Brock can come in on this, in terms, I'm also a treasurer of the Kearney Cultural Partners, which is a consortium of performing visual arts and other cultural entities here in the Kearney area. And there are, I think, 17, and then a couple of affiliates. The city of Kearney also is involved, as well as our Visitors Bureau. So it's a good way to coordinate everything. And we've been meeting informally for quite a few years. And just this beginning of this year, it was formalized. And so I have been paying attention in the performing arts groups that are self-producing. In other words, they're not bringing in outside professional groups, but they're like the community theater, doing their own plays, musicals, et cetera. And they were dark for most of the summer, but they started to open up a little bit more. And just here in the coming out of the winter, they're really seem to all be going pretty gung-ho now, not virtual. Although they keep the streaming of the performance as an option. So they're basically doing a hybrid. And that seems to be going pretty well. And from what I gather from just paying attention to what's happening in town and what people are planning, it seems that things are opening up mighty fast. I was just listening to the radio here a few minutes ago, and I think the no mask mandate even took the Restaurant Association nationally by surprise. And so things feel like they're going back to normal. And the vaccination rate here in Buffalo County, I'd say, has been pretty darn good.
Anna?
I should say that the Museum of Nebraska Art loaned us an exhibition, a riverfront through it. We couldn't put up as much as they did, so it was curated for what objects we had. So in the North Gallery, we have what we thought was some of the best things from that. And so it has made people aware that there is the State Museum west of us. So I didn't know that there'll be a period when they're closed. So I guess we could at least let them know. But we're really happy to have that exhibition, and it was certainly worth the rental rate.
I will say that they are planning to keep maybe 3 or 4 Artreach exhibitions available and at the ready.
Great.
During the period that they're totally closed. So I was talking to someone who's trying to manage all this, someone that a process that I'm sure Margot is aware of when she was at Jocelyn, just how you manage collections when you're doing major building projects. And so it's all going to go into deep storage. And so they have to get everything settled for 2 years ahead of time and pull out the pieces that would be used for Artreach or a loan to the mayor's office or whatever. So it's a huge undertaking right now.
Looks like Katie joined us. Katie, are you there? Yes. Thank you, girls, for.
You're welcome.
Hi. We're just talking about, Katie, about what's going on. And Katie, you're in Hastings.
Yeah.
Correct? Little introduction, and then kind of give what your changes, what kind of things are going on for the summer, and your events or activities or helpers.
So I'm Katie at the Hastings Museum. We are starting our summer fun programs, which are just our summer camps, in about 2 weeks. We're hoping that they're pretty normal compared to past years, about 20 kids. The city is no longer requiring masks, so that's been kind of an interesting, parents sharing their 2 cents either way on that. And then just a few exhibits. Most of our stuff right now is going to be pretty in-house. We are going through a big collections move anyways, so it's a nice way to get it out and make it look intentional. But otherwise, things are slowly getting fairly back to normal. We just wrapped up school season, so yeah.
Good. Activities, you seeing visitors influx coming in like the rest of us have all kind of seen that influx of people starting to come?
Yeah, we were really surprised. Our school season was actually pretty decent for about 2 months. We had at least 1 or 2 schools, about 100 kids each time. So that was really awesome for us. And definitely a lot of visitors, but in our area, we're kind of like the only thing for kids right now. Other places made this statement back in January, like there's nothing this year. I'm like, oh, we got stuff, come see us.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think any of us have had that gap in students coming in or children coming in to school groups But I did have our Broken Bow ones did not come in this year, but they did, in January, they did a scavenger hunt where they had to come in and do an assignment, do their selfie and a story, kind of a different process of coming in one at a time rather than a group. So that was kind of individualized that the kids got to do. The Stapleton kids come in here a while back and got to do, and the that was our grouping, but all rural kids, but they had never been here before, but they were picking a local area to go to. So
Yeah, we had a lot of new schools, especially like smaller towns that have come, and like we saw their entire school because a lot of places around here just weren't open for field trips. So that was
Yeah.
kind of nice. So it was a lot of new visitors.
yeah. Okay. And I'll give what we're up to. We're open. We were closed for about 6 weeks, and we did have all those research ones coming in, or the questions of are you here or not, or those. But we did open up last May, but definitely seeing only 25% of our customers or our tourists come in. So we had a 75% difference in our guests. But we have seen definitely an influx starting in April, as I think the vaccination started happening across the nation. And you see those, I'm vaccinated, I can come in. It's like, okay, here, but I'll put my mask on to do for my things. But we are planning things. Last night we had our first part of our tour, which was the historical tour, and it took us, and we did about a 3-hour PowerPoint presentation last night. And yes, we did have intermission, but we did have a couple of a dozen, I think there was 32 or so that was there last night for our group. But and then tomorrow, like I said, we're watching the weather so that we can go out in the bus and on some mud roads. So it's like dirt roads, but I hope they're not mud of doing so. And it's a living history type thing. But yeah, it's going to kind of combine 3 cemetery tours in there, but not characters. We'll just get to go into them and have our little tours. But we are working on a couple of things for this summer. As you see in my background, we do have the Talbot mural installed and the cabinetry. And the little plates here are the pallets that the artist used for restoration. So there's 2 others of the group that are out right now, but they'll be back in. But those are kind of interesting little pieces of that art. And we will do a dedication to that on our Pie Social. Pie and Ice Cream Social is our big summer open event, opening of the summer. And it is open to the community, and it is a public event where we serve ice cream and pie off of our soda fountain. And during that time, kind of making up for last year's, because we do have a tractor video, and it's about an hour long of about 12 different people or families that one of our board members has taken and recorded stories and put a video together, kind of like the Waterways videos, and did that. And so that was ready last year. So it's going to get to be shown, and the families invited in to see it and get to see their videos for the first time. And then at that time, Ginger Talbot will also be in. The mural is from Tom Talbot, and we will get to have that dedication in the second hour of our Pie Social. So we'll have a couple of things during that. And then we are starting June 1st here, we'll have a photo exhibit coming together of our glass negatives that were from the Kellenbarger family. And there's going to be about 60 that I think we'll have on show. There might be a few more, but 126 is how many initial pieces. They're not a huge group, but they were about 1904 to 1920 or so is the time frame kind of what those are. Up in the Anselmo area is where that was at. And the family still has the place, and they found this egg crate of stuff in the barn or the house in a closet. And so the camera, the developing tray, kind of the whole photography area. And with that, we'll have a photography class by Julie Moore. So that'll be a combination of that event in the summer. We haven't yet set a date on that one, but she said she would come over. And then we will be having a research class in July for how to research, what to do, and that stuff to kind of help out those ones that were trying to do it over this last year. And then Victoria Springs, our state recreation area up here, is going to have their 100th this year. And July 10th, we will be hosting the schoolhouse and the log houses. So we will be doing their history out on the road, kind of. And so that will be a deal. And then, but otherwise we're open. I'm seeing visitors from every which way. So, and Alice is in here. So she just walked in. But any other changes, or like Erin said something about keeping the drive-through barbecue or something? Is there, and that I don't know, I said I'm posting more often on the Facebook and the social media that way, but another, Katie, that was one question we asked earlier. Is there a way, will you be keeping the virtual parts that you've done, or will you change back, or it will be hybrid? Kind of both.
A lot of kind of both. If it can be in person, we like to do that. School programs, we were going to go virtual before COVID even hit, and then COVID just kind of rushed that timeline a lot more. So those will still stay. We actually did quite a few of them this year, which was surprising because we didn't really advertise them. But yeah, and some of it, we still do a lot on our social media stuff, but it's definitely, our community is itching just to get back into a building, and they want off their phones, especially now with it being summer. So it's kind of a whole situation. We also luck out, we have like a whole city block that we can have stuff on. So even if we do have people, there's literally an entire arboretum to go have it. So.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
Well, I will just share personally, as many of you know, just about a little over a week before the NMA conference, of which you all participated, I broke my leg. So I am pleased to report that I got my get out of jail free card on Tuesday. So I stayed, we have a 2-story house, and so I was to put no weight on the leg. It was no surgery, no cast, but also no weight, and someone loaned me a little scooter. So I stayed on the 2nd floor. One time I stayed on the 2nd floor of our house for 14 days. And then I had an appointment I had to go to. So, and then I did the next time 17 days. And it's amazing how cozy you can feel in your house. So I actually still remembered how to drive because I had to get myself. Needless to say, my husband has gotten a lot of exercise, bringing meals and everything upstairs. So I will say I am surprised at how weak my legs are. So it's going to be physical therapy and all that. So I'm still not 100%, but that's my good news.
Yeah, good. Woohoo. Anything else on have a topic for next month? Do we already have that?
I think we were talking at the last board meeting. It sounded like a couple of museums were having some issues with hiring people and getting people even to apply. And so I think that's going to be the next topic is what museums are going to be doing, or how you're hiring people, or in that sort of vein, I guess. I think that's kind of the consistency. I think that's what it was. Don't you think, Audrey? That seems to me what I think the topic was. People seem to be interested in that, from Stewart Museum, Chris was saying he was in his railroad town at our meeting because he couldn't find somebody to staff that. And he was having problems finding somebody. And I think Becky was saying they were trying to find a maintenance person for Hastings, and we just hired a maintenance person for the first time, and so it's a learning experience for us. But I think that's going to be the next topic is just kind of see where museums are in terms of hiring and what issues they're coming up with or what's worked and that sort of thing. So I think that's where we're going to head to. So, and the next one will be on the 4th Friday. We switched this one up because of Memorial Day being next weekend. So we thought, you know, more people would be able to attend this one. So, but yeah, so the 25th at 10:30, 9:30 is when the next one will be.
Okay.
So, and if you have any ideas, you know, or topics for anything that you might be interested in hearing about, or if you would like to lead something, let us know. You know, these are really, as you can see, really informal. So, and they've been very interesting. So quite a variety of topics that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
I would also add that we did receive, I think, 19, 20 evaluations on the conference. And in that survey, there was opportunity to suggest topics. And so some of them would be very appropriate for Museum Musings monthly program and or for the conference next April.
Yeah, either of those. And I was always, like you say, we're always open to ideas.
Right.
I think any of us in our locations are somewhat open to ideas of implementing some new things, so whatever.
I will say, if any of you also have any ideas of topics for the conference, we'll be starting that planning in a very general way here over the summer, and then getting much more specific in the fall. So, or if anyone has an idea of something that they would like to present, that individual would like to be a leader on, we're delighted to have all that kind of information. We got some really good feedback on the evaluations. So if you were one who did answer them, thank you.
Is that going to be in Holdridge next year?
Yes.
Perfect.
Notice I'm saying that so definitively. This is assuming there isn't a variant that's worse than what we've just been through or something like that. But I'm an optimistic person. So yeah, Mike and I are definitely planning it. I think it's April 4th and 5th in Holdridge.
And speaking of conferences, in the last conference, you should have all gotten your newsletter email yesterday. So all of the content from this most recent conference is now available on our website or our YouTube channel. So if you missed something at one of the sessions or you couldn't make a session, that's all up there. Or if there were any like handouts or content, they're also on that website. So if you want to go, I know that a couple of them, I just kind of stopped taking notes and I'm like, I'm just going to wait till it's posted. So, so I will be going back and looking at that, like especially Karen's, you know, all of Karen's data on the photo negatives and that sort of thing. I will definitely be going back and trying to catch. Now, what did she say about that? And so, yeah, so just as a reminder, it's all on the website now.
Last night I had let's see, the Thursday was when I had this. So Wednesday had a call in saying, are we doing Zoom on the tour? And it's like, I had not planned to have Zoom or any digital part of that or virtual part of that to have in that, knowing that this was out and about in a bus on the next part of it. So I didn't do the option of having that Zoom part of doing. So I was like, well, it's a 3-hour presentation. That's a long Zoom meeting. So it's like, oh no, I don't think so. But we had a good time, and I'm glad to see visitors back in, as all of you probably are, and from all over. I think the young lady yesterday didn't have a mission, didn't have a place to be. She just said, I'm just picking the next place and stopping wherever it brings me, and looking up things and just taking off. And she was from California. And she said, I'm just going across the countryside, seeing where things are at.
Wow.
So it's like adventure. It's like, yeah, let's go. I asked her if she was a permanent RVer, and she said no. she said she had a Hollywood job at a little bit there, and she says, no, I'm just getting out and doing things and appreciating that I can get out.
Good for her.
We had someone from, I think, Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago that tried to bring in their pet rabbit. And it was so bizarre. Like the only reason why I knew they were from Pennsylvania is because of their license plate. And the rabbit was just like going back and forth from shoulder to shoulder. And so for historic preservation reasons, we don't allow pets. And so I had to ask that question. And yeah, it was, I mean, we get all walks of life. And I think that's important to realize too in the museum world and working with the public. So that was my first big weird encounter of the spring. So I'm blessed. I'm knocking on the table right now. So
I think that's another topic is weird encounters.
Yeah, that would be the strange encounters of the museums.
I actually like that. That is pretty awesome. And how you approach.
What was your nightmare at the museum?
Yeah, right. This could go on as a permanent theme.
Oh yes, sirree. I think my strange one just last from Halloween. Following that, I noticed it's like I think I seen a bird in here. I had a bird in here, and the only thing I had was that the door was open for the Halloween to come in and out, went from one door to another, to pass through and come back out. And it's like, I'll be dang. And they pass past the mannequins, which scares the little kids anyway. So that's kind of get them in, but get them back out. And whatever it was, the next 2 days after, there was a bird in here. Did that bird come in did somebody carry it in or just hop in or I don't know, but that was a strange encounter. It's like, where and how has he been going to get in here?
The main thing is, did you count that as attendance in your attendance?
I was just like, is he pretty flighty? Did he come? Yeah. Like, every time I seen him, did he go back and forth? So, but it's very strange. And I thought, well, I have things come on my surveillance, but it's like, oh, well, where did that come from? And what was it? But maybe it was him.
Yeah, I like the weird encounters theme.
Yeah, weird encounters. Yep. You noted that down, Erin, right? For one of the next kind of a fun little experience of. So
Yeah, I wrote that down. That would be
Okay.
interesting. So, although I think you could probably turn it in. I think, doesn't the Rails and Trails, don't they do a ghost thing? Or did they?
Are you talking about like our ghost tours?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have our own paranormal investigators that, I mean, people have to sign up for a tour. It's not like we sit here and wait and then we hope they come, but they have to sign up ahead of time so that way we can arrange with everyone's schedule, because we don't personally do them, but it's the investigators themselves that do them, and then they give a certain percentage to us. So
There's an idea for you, Tammy.
ghost tours.
We actually had a group asked to come and see if we had any ghosts or anything in any of our buildings, and they did 3 of our buildings and 4 of our buildings, and they only picked up something in our depot. Now I've never been creeped out at the depot, but they swear up and down that something was at the depot. So, and maybe one of the other buildings, but they just wanted to come in and do recording and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, sure, why not? It didn't cost us anything. They just wanted to know if they could find anything. So apparently they found it in 1, I think it was 2, but that was about it. So.
We have hauntings for about every one of our buildings on the property. So
My doorbell will go off here at random times, so with nobody around. And I always tell my ghost, I guess, come on in and start cleaning.
maybe it's that bird.
That bird. Well, I don't think he would be able to make the doorbell go off because he can't fit in that little hole. And it looks like there's nothing there. Maybe his little friend is there. I don't know. But knocking at the door maybe too. But any other questions for the session today? We hope to see you next month on the program and talking about getting a job force in place or hiring. Do you have a trick how you got your different ones in that? So my little piece is also, I do have some high school interns that will get a small scholarship for the summer, paid out as that way. It's not a college scholarship, it's an intern scholarship. And so we have 2 for sure in, and the other 2 are yet to come in. So they should be starting anytime. But in a strange piece, we've had teenagers take in the trimming job at the cemetery. So I have 4 people hired in this last 3 weeks. Kind of an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
But teenagers.
Yeah, so
Really get a generation involved that might not normally be involved, but get another, hopefully get them hooked on something of, oh, it's interesting in here.
yeah, that's what we got to do. So thank you very much, Tammy. Appreciate you
Yes.
leading things, and thank you everybody else for attending. If there's nothing else, we'll end this just a little bit early, and hope you guys have a good rest of the day and have a good Memorial Day, and hopefully it doesn't rain on anything for whatever you're doing in the summer, and we'll see you in about a month on June 25th.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.